Hello, it is Becky DeWitt, and welcome to the Pen Talks. This is where I give little tidbits of my 25-year journey in being a self-published author, and where I encourage you to pick up the pen. So today we're going to talk about genres. What is a genre? A genre is simply a category of your literary composition. So we're going to talk about different genres today. The most popular genre is romance. Why not? Of course, everybody wants to read romance. So, it's sales and everything with romance is off the chart. Everybody wants to read romance. So how do you, as an author, write about romance? Well, you have to think about it. Are you going to just have a plain couple? Are you going to have a person who is in love with somebody and they're not in love with them? One-sided love. You're gonna have that, or you're gonna have crisscross love. I don't know who loving anybody. It's all crisscross. Or are you gonna have the one that got away love? Somebody seeing somebody that they hadn't seen since high school, or the one that I shouldn't have been involved with in high school. So I encourage you to pick up the pen. There's so many situations in life, even in your own life, that you could write about concerning romance. Are you going to have a runaway love? I'm in love with you, but I got to run away. Or my mama sent me away. Oh, there's so many different stories. So romance is a genre that you might want to think a lot about. You can look around and see who's in love. Don't forget, pick up the pen. The next genre is mystery. I like a good mystery. I like when you get me on the hook. I like it when there is a page turner and I've got all these questions. Who did it? Why did they do it? And when you start with the mystery, right? It's a page turner that will keep you up all night. It's exciting. I like mysteries. I can write a good mystery. In fact, I did write one. It turned out into be a trilogy. So mystery is something that you've got to construct it's like crisscrossing a whole lot of lines. And you got to keep your characters in order because you never know when you're going to add another character. And the thing about a mystery is the questions that the reader will have, because the one that you think that did it is not the one that you thought at all. Somebody will come from way out of the left field, and that's the whodunit. Pick up the pen for your mystery. Another genre is the inspirational or self-help books. Inspirational books are those books that I'm an inspirational writer, that we try to convey to the reader that it is possible for those things that you think about. A lot of times we write in scripture, we tell stories, but it's to inspire you in your mind, to inspire you in your spirit, and self-help to tell you, how did I get from there to here? Okay, so that's a good genre to write about. I started out as an inspirational writer. I think the first book that I wrote was The 3 E's of Faith. The 3 E's of Faith. Exercise, examine, and elevate. Check in your faith. So I have a lot of self-help books as far as inspiration is concerned. And we know that everybody needs a little self-help and everybody needs a little inspiration. So that's a good genre if you are a Christian author, which I am. So let's pick up the pen and inspire someone today. Let's talk about science fiction and fantasy. Science fiction and fantasy are, we know, fiction, of course, and they deal with different time periods. They deal with technology. They deal with the future, and some can deal with the past. I've never written anything in that genre. It's going to take a lot of imagination for me. I'm quite sure I can. But, anything dealing with the stars, I'm a Star Trek fan. I'm a Star Wars fan. But anything dealing with that type of fantasy in the future, that's a good read. It's a good write. I think I could do that. I just have to set my mind to it and let my imagination flow. So that's what it is in science fiction. And let's pick up the pen, see if we can write a fantasy. I'm quite sure we can. Okay, let's talk about children's book. That is one of my favorite genres. In fact, it should be my favorite genre because I've written, I think, like 10 or 11 books for children. Now, we know that the audience is a child. One of the things about writing for children, you have to think like a child thinks so that you can convey the thought so that the child understands. So that will have to take your imagination in a place that if you're not accustomed to. Now, the next thing about a children's book is that, guess what? It requires pictures because you're aiming at an audience that's much younger. Even though you have the language and the words, you want them to see the picture, and that adds to the thought process. Now, illustrations can be very costly, but they are necessary in a children's book. So guess what? We're going to think like a child. We're going to make sure we can give them a picture so that they can understand what we're saying, and we're going to pick up the pen. Anybody who wants to say something to a child in any form, let's pick up the pen and write a children's book. You can do that. I did. Let's talk about autobiographies and biographies. These are nonfiction books. These are books that are talking about somebody's life. So, an autobiography, the person who pens the book is the author, and that's the person that they're talking about. In other words, it would be like if I wrote a book about myself. Oh, I got stories to tell. Yes, a lot of people got stories to tell. So a biography is when somebody else writes a book about me. And they probably got some stories to tell too. But it's nonfiction. And some people even write memoirs, okay? So that's a genre that we need to think about. I'm not writing a biography. I'm not going to have anybody write my biography, and I'm not writing an autobiography. You know why? Because if you read any of my books, especially the novels, I've got certain parts of my life woven in it. That's a good read. So let's pick up the pen. After listening to me talk about the different genres of literary composition, I don't want you to be intimidated. I just wanted you to have a little bit of knowledge. So I want you to be inspired. Remember, don't be intimidated, be inspired. Pick up your pen. You can do it.